where are you going?
My name is Wayne Keith Kemery, and I was born 2 miles north of where we're sitting right now on the farm, January the 13th in 1939.
My name is Patricia Ellen Longfellow Kemery, and I was born March 16th, 1942. I was born in Creston in the hospital. I was the only one of us 3 older children that was born in our hospital.
My childhood, I had an older brother. Seemed like I was always the one that was trailing along behind. As far as childhood, I would spend all the time I could up at the blacksmith shop when her dad would send me home or something like that. I
had an older brother and an older sister, and we rode bicycles a lot. We had little 125 Harley-Davidson motorcycles. We used to get on them and we'd ride to when we were way too young, we would ride to town and stop at this little lady's house at the edge of town, and then we'd walk uptown. Our folks let us take our mattresses outdoors, put the mattress on top of a blanket, and then we slept on our mattress outside that summer because it was so hot. We didn't have air conditioning. And we would go out there and sleep. We thought that was a lot of fun. I was involved in everything in high school. Everything. Band, softball, basketball. We didn't have volleyball then. Basketball was my favorite. I loved basketball. And when I was a freshman, I got to play on the first team. So that was because I could shoot left-handed. I could drive left-handed and shoot left-handed. For being right-handed, I had good control over my left hand.
We played town team ball even after that, and I figured up one day, and I was catcher for 17 years, so it's no wonder my back and legs hurt. But there wasn't too many still second base on me.
He was kind of a jock from Blockton, one of those good athletes that's when I first knew him. But I knew him from sports and being in school.
Primarily it was a sports situation. Blockton and Clearfield were rivals, more or less. They had a good girls team. She was on it. And we had a pretty good boys team, and it was easy to go. And then she also worked at the theater for a while, which made it easy. I could just slip in there and talk to her.
Wayne asked I was coming out of high school, which is crazy. And Wayne asked my dad if we could get married. And my dad really, really liked Wayne. So that was not hard for him to say yes. And he said, well, she's not of age, so you will have to sign. And my dad said, yeah, give me the paper, I'll sign.
I didn't have to get on my knee or anything, at least. No, it was one of them deals where we both had consensus. We just said, let's get married, and okay. And I always kidded her. I said, you couldn't cook when we first got married. She said, did you ever see a child out of the crib be able to boil water?
So we got married on Friday the 13th. We went to Troy, Kansas, and we went down there and got married in this courthouse.
She had a lady with her, Carol Lee Beggs, and I had a classmate, Tom Miller, who was my best man, if you want to. And that was it. It started out to be a fairly decent day, and before the day was over, it was a foggy mist. And you just about had to have a seeing eye dog to get back home out of it.
We bought our first little house cost us $2,800. And we lived in it for, I don't know how many years, not too many years. And then a lady from California was moving back here, and she wanted to buy our house. Well, she wanted to buy it sooner than we wanted to sell it, but we went ahead and sold it. And so we moved in with his mother and lived there while Wayne done all the house was roughed in. And
We, after we built that house and lived in it, we bought this farm. She came into our place one day and said, I want to talk to you guys. She said, I've looked all over, can't find a place that I like any better. I'd like to buy this. Well, we did. We told her to her, and then we moved into a house out here, which has been torn down since, but you could kind of, we had rollers on our dining room tables, chairs. You sit down to there, you might just start rolling away from the table.
And the windows we had to cover in our bedroom with blankets because they would move the curtains in the wintertime. It was so cold.
So it was kind of a shell. We first put up a grain bin out behind here, out east here, and built a 40 by 60 machine shed.
Had a small cattle shed out behind we put up. Right where we're at right now was a double garage. And we took a wall out between what is now the living room and the dining room. That is now where the double garage was, and we added another double garage on so we would have more room. And they always say, when your kids leave home, why do you make your house bigger? Well, at this time, when our kids all come home, there's 20 of us. Every year there's something we can do. You know, we just gradually added things.
And as far as being a father, there's a tremendous amount of pride in it. Yeah, you want to fall off and smack them once in a while on the rear, but if you let yourself do it, you can watch what they did. What they do, it's better than what they done the last time, or it's different from what they done the last time. It's amazing to me. Then I've got great grandkids that just baffle me anymore. What they know.
Well, you know, Wayne and I have always done everything together. I don't think there's anything probably better than being a mom. And I mean, you always think about your kids no matter how old they get. You're still their mom. Mike was a very busy little boy. He was busy.
I wouldn't know where he learned
and
that.
And then Debbie, when she came along, she was a really good little baby. Debbie was always a good little girl. She was always, and she played school always. When my beauty shop was going on, she was in the other room, in a big family room, and you would hear her in there just talking away. She would say, now, she was talking to these little kids, pretending she was a school teacher.
Mike was probably 7 or 8.
He went riding down the street. Well, he wrecked it, and he came back. Oh my gosh, he was all scratched up. But the first thing he said to us was, I didn't hurt my bike. I didn't hurt my bike.
But as the kids got older, why, Mike wrestled. And I've been all over the state of Iowa taking him to wrestle in different meets. We've never missed him wrestling at all.
Debbie was his biggest supporter when it come to wrestling. But
she could tell you who was the best wrestler in that class and tell you how they were seated and where they were. Kept track of all the statistics and all that. She lived it too. But they really never got us problems. They mischievous, yeah, sure, but nothing ever really bad happened.
We usually always took a trip every year when our kids were home, and basically we went to Colorado, to the mountains every year. And we had good friends out there, and we would take campers, or we'd go up there in the mountains with this other couple. They had 3 little boys, and we would camp up there near the river, and the clouds would come down on us, and our family always loved going to Colorado every year. But we used to go 4-wheel riding all the time, take 4-wheelers and go to the mountains, and had a lot of fun doing that.
but it had to be somewhere on the pre-Depression days. Started a shop, well, like a mini at that time. Now you went broke at it. So the place where we have the shop now, he went over there in 1938, I think. This, there's a lot of history here. So the part right over there on the south side of this building right here was a Model T dealership. I mean, we're going back to the turn of the century. And I don't know how long that stayed there, but Granddad didn't have anything. I was ahead of him. He didn't have anything to do with that. That back in there was about, that was Granddad's era, so to speak, and then sharpened plow lathes and shoe horses. Like Dad had certain things he'd let me do. And I'd go about so far on playing with different things. And I remember one day in particular, I picked up a hammer and hit him in the back, and he looked at me. I said, "I think it's time you went home." But other than that, my granddad was there ahead of Dad, so my granddad, I was kind of the favorite, I guess, for him, because he'd always allow me to do more than what the others did. But I guess I liked the welding before I really got where I could do anything. It was 14, 15, 16, up in that area. I guess that's the reason why I like mechanics, is I went on years as I learned how to tear something apart and put it back together. You paid attention what bolts you took where and how to put it. So it was enjoyable. I enjoyed it. There's not much for good lights in here. So in 1946, Dad bought the blacksmith shop from his dad, and he said, "I never made so much money before or since." That after the war, everybody was buying wagons, trailers, and everything else. And he had 4 guys working beside him. The building that to the north side of the old cement block, the cement building, Dad and I put that on in 1966. We thought it was a big building. I think it's 40 by 60, and had one door that was 12 by 14, and the other was 12 by 12. Thought they were big doors. Today, they won't let even a tractor in it hardly anymore. Well, Dad passed away in '69, and I run it then till 2001 when I had my heart attack. So I can't be within 100 feet of an electric welder. Basically, that's like turned into being a farmer, I guess.
We did not really start farming until the time Mike went to college. So we were married 20 years before we ever started any farming.
We bought this farm here, decided to farm it. It was not a very big situation. We used old equipment. She'd help me and we'd work that way. She had a job and I'd still be in the blacksmith shop part-time, and mostly all-time down there and part-time out here. Maybe that'd be a better way to put it.
And actually, I was at home all the time because a few years after we were married, I'd always wanted to go to beauty school because I wanted to do something that I could do at home and be home when my kids left in the morning and be home when my kids got home. So I was always here, so I could arrange my schedule to help him if he needed me to help him in the field or something.
3 days.
3 days.
Yeah, that's right. That's
Wow, you'll have fun. I went to beauty school. I started in the fall in, I think it was September, and I got out July 10th. It took 2,100 hours to go to beauty school in Iowa. And Wayne would always say, you want to remember, don't get in a chair to get a haircut if she's mad at you. Because he said I cut his hair way too short one time. We just gradually added more land because we kept our other jobs. That's what made life easier. We kept our jobs that made our living, we kept doing them, so when we bought the land, we could just put everything back into.
We didn't have to take any part of our living out of that part of our
Yeah.
expenses, really.
And that's what made it as easy as it was.
This tractor over here to the left and back was the closest to me in my mind. The day she took me to hospital was supposed to be the day they started building this tractor. And on the way in to the hospital, I said, I wonder if they're going to start my tractor today. I think there's 2 times of the year that you have a good feeling is the time you get done planting and then the time you get in harvesting. That's just milestones or whatever you want to call it. That's an area that you work the hardest for. Of course, everything else you do leads up to that. I guess that's what I enjoy as much as anything. There's been a lot of change that I've seen. So many more acres controlled by one man. It's amazing how much. Used to be every square mile you'd see at least 2 houses, maybe 4. And they'd make a living for their family off of that. Today you go down the road and you can't see a house for many miles. Technology's a wonderful thing if you understand it, and I don't. That's probably the biggest change. One thing, if you want to just up and say what's the biggest change, technology definitely was hit the high. When Zach was going to college, I told Pat, I says, when he graduates and wants to farm, I'll buy technology. Because I don't profess to know anything about it. I can be shown what to do, but I don't understand everything about it. Used to be simple enough that an average person could understand what's wrong with the tractor. Today they have to plug it into a computer to find out what's wrong with it. I guess it's progress. I've learned that you can take advice sometimes from the younger ones, and it will improve things for you. It's wonderful. You and everybody else will know someday when you get this age, you don't do what you used to do. Don't even come close to doing what you used to. Yeah, you go get this, you go get that. They do it without even being told to do it. I'm just, it's wonderful. I don't know how else to say it. The younger generation are better educated on many things than what the older people are. We can remember that old stuff. And the reason you can talk about it is because nobody else is there to tell you you're wrong.
When Zach and Wayne were working together in the fields and stuff, I fixed both their lunches. I always sent Zach's lunch too. And when Wayne first started, it was just Wayne and I even took good meals to the field, like I would maybe, a big meal and take it to the field. But, after a while, you get tired of that. You don't do that anymore. It's not that much fun. So he just, rather than stop and go back home and stuff, they'd rather eat a sack lunch. I really like my flower beds. I like my perennials, not annuals. I like the perennials that come back every year. And I like to garden. I love to can this stuff. I've always liked to garden. When I first got married, I always raised a garden. And now I have my sweet corn patch in the fields. So, but I just like gardening. I just like being outside, raising the garden. I love the flowers, but I always like doing that. It's just good therapy. To me, Wayne thinks it's my therapy to raise a garden or mow my yard. we belonged to a pinochle club, and we either played pinochle, pitch, or just sat and visited, but we always went for supper, and we done that basically for 60 years.
Then we also went dancing. Almost every Sunday night we went down to Maryville and danced.
Country line dances, and actually until this coronavirus came along, we went dancing every Sunday night with a group of our friends.
I got some rhythm, but I just plain didn't know what I was doing. I don't know whether I do yet or not, but we enjoyed doing it. Yeah, she's taught me a lot on that. So much anymore, I say it's my turn to lead now.
Our family's been the most important thing in our life. I mean, that's what it's all about.
Yeah, if it wasn't our parents, it's our kids and grandkids and the great-grandkids. They're wonderful. There just isn't any other way to say it than the best thing that ever happened to us.
And we're so proud of how our kids have been good, such good parents, and how their kids, our grandkids, are following and being such good parents to our little great-grandkids. We're just amazed at what wonderful in-laws and family we have.
Because probably the best asset we got is the fact that
is our family.
Good family.
Wayne says the best part of his life is when all of his kids and grandkids, now great-grandkids, have their feet around our table. I mean, he just likes to listen to the talk. I mean, we may not say a lot, but they're chattering, and sometimes the littler kids may be under the table instead of up at the table, but you know.
It seems very peculiar because if any one of those children there have a favorite food, it gets fixed every Sunday. The only thing I can tell about the grandkids and the great-grandkids is talk to your parents. And tell them what you're thinking, tell them what you got, and have them tell you what they think also.
Nothing is so bad but what you can always go to your parents, no matter what. Two things we always wanted to teach our kids was to work hard and learn how to manage your money. Don't, and I think they've both done very well, and I think our grandkids are doing very well. It's better to live within your means and don't try to keep up with some of your friends. If you see what they've got you'd like, just try to live within your means and work hard. And, stay close to your family, because that's the most important thing in your life.